Every betrayal begins the same way, with trust. A friend, a lover, a partner, someone who knows your secrets, and one day uses them against you. In Hollywood, those betrayals don't just break hearts, they build headlines. Today, we peel back the mask to uncover the most shocking celebrity betrayal stories, where loyalty turns to obsession and fame becomes the weapon. Michael Jackson outsmarting his own friend, Paul McCartney, Princess Diana manipulated by a journalist's lies. Shania Twain's world was destroyed by the two people she trusted most, and Britney Spears trapped by her own bloodline in a cage built from control. These aren't movie scripts. They're real lives unraveling in slow motion, every lie whispered under the roar of fame. Because the most dangerous thing in Hollywood isn't failure, it's trust, the kind that feels safe right before it ruins you. So turn down the lights and listen close. Every truth you're about to hear once started as a secret. Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney, The Beatles' Catalog Betrayal, 1985. In the early 1980s, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson were close friends and collaborators. They recorded chart-topping duets like Say, Say, Say and The Girl Is Mine, often joking between takes about music and money. McCartney, who had already built a fortune buying song publishing rights, once explained to Jackson how owning catalogs could secure long-term wealth. Years later, McCartney recalled in interviews that Jackson told him playfully, "One day, I'll own your songs." He laughed it off, never imagining that the young pop star might actually mean it. By 1985, Jackson did exactly that. When the publishing company ATV Music, owner of more than 250 Beatles songs, including Hey Jude and Yesterday, went up for sale, McCartney declined to bid, believing the $47.5 million price tag was too steep. Jackson stepped in and bought it outright. The deal shocked the industry and blindsided McCartney, who later admitted he felt hurt and disappointed. What had started as a friendship built on mutual admiration had turned into one of pop culture's most famous business betrayals. Jackson defended the move as simply good business. "Oh, Paul, that's just business." But to McCartney, it felt deeply personal, the transformation of a trusted bond into a cold transaction. The sale forever changed the music industry's perception of intellectual property, showing how art could be bought, sold, or controlled, even by a friend. In 2017, after decades of legal maneuvering, McCartney reached a confidential settlement with Sony/ATV Music Publishing to reclaim his US rights under copyright law. The friendship never recovered, but their story endures as a haunting reminder that in the business of fame, even genuine friendship can be rewritten, just like the ownership of a song. Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, The Stolen Private Tape, 1995. In the mid-1990s, Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee were Hollywood's wildest couple, beautiful, reckless, and hopelessly in love. Their romance had started like a firework. 4 days after meeting, they married on a beach in Mexico. Behind the headlines and chaos, they were just newlyweds, filming moments of joy and intimacy on a home camcorder during their honeymoon. What they didn't know was that the tape would become one of the most infamous betrayals in pop culture history. The man behind the scandal was Rand Gauthier, an electrician who had once worked on renovations at their Malibu mansion. After a heated dispute over unpaid wages, Gauthier was fired and humiliated. Tommy allegedly confronted him at gunpoint and threw him off the property. Furious and feeling cheated, Gauthier plotted revenge. Months later, he sneaked onto the property at night, cut through security wiring, and rolled away a safe hidden in the garage. Inside were jewelry, guns, and private tape. Gauthier realized the tape's value and teamed up with a distributor to duplicate and sell copies online, a groundbreaking act in 1995 when the internet was still new. Pamela Anderson later revealed that she never consented to its release and made not $1 from the ordeal, describing it as devastating and very hurtful. The couple's marriage began to unravel in 1998 under relentless media intrusion. More than a scandal, it was a modern parable, how a moment of private love could be stolen, sold, and replayed endlessly by a world hungry for spectacle. In the end, the real theft wasn't just a videotape, it was trust, taken by a man they once allowed into their home and by a society that mistook humiliation for entertainment. William Randolph Hearst versus Orson Welles, The Citizen Kane Suppression, 1941. In 1941, Orson Welles stood at the height of creative freedom. At only 25, he had been given full control by RKO Pictures, a luxury no filmmaker had enjoyed before. The result was Citizen Kane, a daring, brilliant portrait of power, loneliness, and corruption. But behind its fiction, America's most powerful newspaper tycoon, William Randolph Hearst, saw a reflection too sharp to ignore. When Hearst learned that Welles' character, Charles Foster Kane, mirrored his own life, from the vast empire to his affair with actress Marion Davies, he exploded. What followed was one of the most notorious acts of suppression in Hollywood history. Hearst banned all of his newspapers from mentioning Citizen Kane, threatened theater owners who planned to screen it, and pressured RKO to destroy the film entirely. Welles, once Hollywood's golden boy, became its enemy overnight. Citizen Kane received limited screenings and failed at the box office. Welles's career never fully recovered, branded by the shadow of the scandal. Yet time reversed the betrayal. The film that Hearst tried to kill was later hailed as the greatest movie ever made, a symbol of artistic defiance against censorship. In the end, Hearst won the battle but lost the war. His empire faded into memory while Welles's vision endured. The story of Citizen Kane became more than cinema. It became a warning of what happens when power tries to silence truth and how art always finds its voice again. Elizabeth Taylor and Eddie Fisher, Hollywood's love triangle, 1959. In the glittering chaos of 1950s Hollywood, Elizabeth Taylor was the ultimate star, dazzling, magnetic, and perpetually chased by scandal. Eddie Fisher, the smooth-voiced crooner, was her close friend, married to America's sweetheart, Debbie Reynolds. The three formed the perfect Hollywood circle until tragedy struck. In 1958, Taylor's third husband, producer Mike Todd, was killed in a plane crash. Fisher rushed to comfort her. By 1959, the truth burst open. Fisher had left Reynolds and married Taylor. The press erupted, branding Taylor a homewrecker, and the nation's golden couple became the center of a media firestorm. Reynolds later admitted she had sent Fisher to console her grieving friend, only to realize she'd unknowingly delivered her husband to another woman. "I don't blame her," Reynolds said years later. "I blame Eddie." The betrayal felt deeply personal, a wound both emotional and public. Hollywood was split. Half condemned her, half admired her defiance. Yet Taylor would later call the marriage to Fisher an awful mistake. This triangle wasn't just about love, it was about loyalty shattered under the spotlight. In a town built on illusion, their story revealed the raw truth behind Hollywood glamour. Even the brightest stars cast the darkest shadows. Johnny Carson and Joan Rivers, The Talk Show Rift, 1986. For 2 decades, Johnny Carson ruled American television. As host of The Tonight Show, he was the undisputed king of late night. But every king has a favorite court jester, and for Carson, that was Joan Rivers. Sharp, fearless, and funny, Rivers became his protege, his trusted guest host, and even called him her mentor. He thought that she would be a star. By the mid-1980s, Rivers' star was indeed rising. After years of guest hosting The Tonight Show, Fox offered her something Carson never had, her own late-night talk show. She accepted, but when the deal went public, Carson learned about it not from her, but from the network. Feeling blindsided, he reportedly hung up the phone when she called to explain. Within days, Carson banned her from The Tonight Show entirely. Rivers' new program, The Late Show starring Joan Rivers, debuted in 1986, but struggled under immense pressure. Her career took a devastating hit, and tragedy followed. Her husband, Edgar Rosenberg, who produced the show, died by suicide months later. Their feud became one of Hollywood's most infamous betrayals, a reminder that in show business, ambition can crown you one night and exile you the next. Mutt Lange and Shania Twain, The Double Betrayal, 2008. For years, Shania Twain and Robert Mutt Lange looked like the dream team of country pop. He was the reclusive hitmaker behind AC/DC and Def Leppard. She was the rising Canadian star whose voice and vision redefined the genre. Together, they created chart-shattering albums like The Woman in Me and Come On Over, and lived on a serene estate in Switzerland. To the public, they were a love story written in platinum. Then, in 2008, everything collapsed. Lange's secret affair came to light, and the shock wasn't just that he'd been unfaithful, but with whom. The woman was Marie-Anne Thiebaud, Shania's close friend, assistant, and neighbor. The betrayal from both her husband and best friend struck like a double blade. But tragedy gave way to an unlikely twist. In the midst of heartbreak, Twain found unexpected empathy in Frederick Thiebaud, Marie-Anne's ex-husband and the other betrayed partner. Their shared pain became a connection, and that connection turned into love. In 2011, the two married in a small Puerto Rican ceremony. Years later, Twain looked back without bitterness. "I got what I deserve, the greatest man on earth." From devastation to renewal, her story became a testament that even the deepest betrayal can spark an unbreakable comeback. Princess Diana and Martin Bashir, The Panorama Deception, 1995. In 1995, Britain was transfixed. Princess Diana, the most photographed woman in the world, sat down for a shocking BBC interview that would redefine the monarchy's image forever. Broadcast on Panorama, the program featured Diana's calm yet devastating confession. "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." The words shook Buckingham Palace and reached an audience of more than 20 million viewers. But what the world didn't know was that the historic interview had been built on deception. Years later, Diana's brother, Earl Charles Spencer, revealed that journalist Martin Bashir had gained her trust through lies, showing forged bank statements suggesting that palace staff were being paid to spy on her. Believing she was surrounded by betrayal, Diana agreed to speak. For decades, the BBC denied wrongdoing, but in 2021, an independent investigation led by former Supreme Court Judge Lord Dyson confirmed what many had long suspected. Bashir had used deceit to secure the interview, and the BBC had covered it up. The report concluded that his methods were seriously unethical. The network issued a public apology to the royal family, and even Diana's sons, Princes William and Harry, condemned the manipulation that had fed their mother's paranoia. The Panorama interview remains one of the most watched broadcasts in television history, but also one of its darkest. A conversation meant to reveal the truth about betrayal ultimately became a symbol of betrayal itself. Britney Spears, The Conservatorship Battle, 2007 to 2021. When the spotlight turned too bright, it didn't just expose Britney Spears, it consumed her. By 2007, she was no longer America's golden girl, but a woman unraveling before millions. Paparazzi followed her every move. Breakdowns were broadcast like entertainment. After a custody standoff involving her children, a Los Angeles court placed her under a conservatorship in 2008, transferring near-total control of her life to her father, Jamie Spears. What began as protection soon became a prison. Court documents later revealed that Jamie had authority over everything: her medical care, her performances, even her phone calls. Britney went on world tours, released albums, and headlined a Las Vegas residency, yet she couldn't decide when to see her children or spend her own money. In her own words during a 2021 hearing, she said, "I've been in denial. I've been in shock. I am traumatized." The public watched her smile on stage, unaware that she was legally trapped behind it. On November 12, 2021, after 13 years, a judge finally ended the conservatorship. Outside the courthouse, her supporters cried and cheered. Spears didn't speak to the crowd. She didn't have to. Her silence was the sound of freedom. C.C. DeVille and Poison, The VMA Breakdown, 1991. The 1991 MTV Video Music Awards were supposed to be Poison's victory lap, the glittering peak of glam metal before the decade changed. The band arrived at Radio City Music Hall in full force, teased hair, leather jackets, and enough attitude to fill the room. By showtime, the fuse was lit. As millions watched live, the band launched into chaos. The plan was Unskinny Bop, their chart-topping single. But DeVille, visibly intoxicated, suddenly ripped into Talk Dirty to Me, a completely different song. The sound was off, the timing collapsed, and the audience could only watch as one of America's biggest bands publicly imploded. Backstage, the fallout turned violent. Multiple accounts, including from Michaels himself, confirmed that the two men fought brutally in the dressing room. Security stepped in. DeVille was fired on the spot. The next morning, MTV replayed the disaster, headlines blared, and glam metal's golden image began to rust. Years later, he entered rehab, rebuilt his life, and rejoined the band in 1996. The reunion was triumphant, but the stain of that night never faded. The 1991 VMAs remain etched in music history as the moment when excess turned to self-destruction, live on national television. Lance Armstrong, The Doping Deception, 2012. For more than a decade, Lance Armstrong was untouchable. The cancer survivor who beat the odds, then conquered the Tour de France 7 straight times from 1999 to 2005. He was the hero America needed, disciplined, defiant, and clean, or so everyone believed. Behind that legend was a machine built on deception. Teammates whispered about mysterious treatments. Rumors of blood transfusions, EPO injections, and secret hotel rooms followed Armstrong's team from one race to another. But each time, he fought back with the confidence of a man who knew the world adored him. In one now infamous statement, he declared that he's never tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. In 2012, the truth shattered the myth. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency released a 1,000-page report naming Armstrong as the mastermind of the most sophisticated, professionalized, and successful doping program the sport has ever seen. One by one, his former teammates, including Floyd Landis and Tyler Hamilton, came forward, admitting their roles and exposing the lie. Armstrong was stripped of all 7 Tour de France titles and banned from professional cycling for life. Sponsors dropped him overnight. Livestrong, the charity he founded, cut ties. When he finally confessed in 2013 on Oprah Winfrey's show, the world saw not a champion, but a man facing the wreckage of his own empire. It wasn't just about cheating, it was about betrayal. The betrayal of teammates, fans, and a generation who believed in miracles. Kanye West versus Kim Kardashian, the public meltdown, 2020 to 2022. At first, they were Hollywood's golden couple, the fashion mogul and the rap visionary. Kanye West and Kim Kardashian had built an empire together, billion-dollar brands, 4 children, and a marriage that seemed untouchable. But by 2020, their private struggles spilled into the world like an open wound. During his brief presidential campaign that summer, Kanye made erratic public speeches, revealing deeply personal details about their family, including their daughter's birth. Days later, he launched a Twitter storm accusing Kim and her mother, Kris Jenner, of trying to lock him up. What should have been private pain became viral chaos. The internet turned their marriage into a spectacle. Every tweet, every paparazzi photo dissected by millions. For Kim, the betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was public humiliation. The man she once called her soulmate had weaponized their personal life against her, and the world was watching. By early 2021, Kim filed for divorce. What followed was a spiral. Kanye harassed her online, attacked her boyfriend, Pete Davidson, and posted private text messages. It wasn't just a breakup, it was psychological warfare fought in front of an audience of millions. By 2022, their story had become a cautionary tale of fame, ego, and the cost of exposure. In the end, both lost what mattered most: peace. Ellen DeGeneres, The Toxic Workplace Scandal, 2020. Every morning, bright lights flickered on at Warner Brothers Stage 1, and for 17 years, Ellen DeGeneres danced into living rooms across America. The laughter felt genuine, the hugs spontaneous, but behind the applause sign, kindness had an expiration date. By mid-2020, whispers turned into reports. Crew members spoke of fear, silence, and exhaustion. A BuzzFeed News expose broke the illusion. Employees describing racial microaggressions, intimidation, and producers who abused their power. Insiders claimed she rarely spoke to the crew, leaving management unchecked. For a host built on empathy, that neglect felt like betrayal. The show that promised kindness had become, in the words of one producer, a cold machine that eats people. Warner Brothers launched an internal investigation. 3 top producers were fired. In September 2020, Ellen returned to air, smiling through her apology. "I learned that things happened here that never should have happened." The audience cheered, but something had changed. Ratings nosedived. Her image, once untouchable, fractured under the weight of irony. When the Ellen DeGeneres Show ended in 2022, there was no grand confetti farewell, just silence. The woman who built her career on laughter had become the cautionary echo of her own slogan. Betrayal is the one drama even Hollywood can't script. Across decades of fame and fortune, these stories show that no matter how bright the lights are, the shadows always find a way in. Friendships crumble, marriages explode, empires collapse, and the world watches every second. These celebrity betrayal stories aren't just scandals. They're mirrors reflecting how fragile trust can be when fame turns personal lives into public theater. Each revelation reminds us that behind every headline lies a human heart, vulnerable, ambitious, and flawed. If you've been captivated by these untold tales of loyalty and loss, hit like, share this video, and drop a comment below to tell us which story struck you most. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because in Hollywood, the next betrayal is always just one secret away.